Hello, my best students. Today, you're going to discover a skill that very few people in the world ever master, the ability to read people like a book. Imagine walking into a room and knowing exactly who's nervous, who's confident, who's lying, and who's telling the truth, all without asking a single question. This isn't magic. It isn't guessing. It's psychology. It's observation. And it's one of the most powerful skills you can ever develop. This lesson is based on the international bestseller Read People, like a book by Patrick King. And I promise you, once you finish this episode, you will never look at people the same way again. You'll see beyond their words. You'll notice the signals most people ignore. And you'll finally understand what others are really thinking and feeling, even when they're trying to hide it. Most people walk through life blind. They listen only to words and miss the truth behind them. They get lied to, manipulated, rejected, and they wonder why. But you, after today, you'll start to notice what others miss: the fidget in the hand, the hesitation in the voice, the fake smile that hides insecurity, and the silence that screams louder than words. And here's the bonus. While you learn these powerful observation skills, you'll also improve your English. You'll hear real examples, you'll learn emotional vocabulary, and you'll practice describing human behavior in clear, natural English. So stay with me until the end. Because this is not just about psychology. This is about building confidence, protecting yourself, understanding others, and learning English in a way that's real, practical, and unforgettable. Now let's begin your transformation. Chapter 1. Words lie, but behavior doesn't. Let's begin with the first and most important truth of this entire book. People can lie with words, but they can't lie with behavior. We live in a world where people are trained to say the right thing, even when they don't mean it. They say, "I'm fine," but they're not. They say, "I trust you," but their arms are crossed and their face is tight. They say, "This deal is great for you," but they're avoiding eye contact, checking their phone, leaning away. Words are a tool, and tools can be used to hide the truth. But behavior, posture, eyes, tone, space, timing, movement, these are hard to fake because they come from the subconscious mind. They're automatic. And that's why learning to read behavior is 100 times more powerful than memorizing phrases. Imagine this. A manager is sitting in a meeting. He says to his team member, "Don't worry, your job is completely safe." He's smiling, but his body is rigid. His feet are pointed toward the door. His shoulders are tight. He's not blinking. He says, "Completely safe," but his tone is flat and cold. Your ears hear, "You're safe." But your eyes, your instincts, they whisper, "He's already decided to fire you." This is the difference between people who get blindsided in life and people who see the truth before it explodes. Here's the science. Your words come from your thinking brain, prefrontal cortex. You control them. But your body language, voice tone, facial reactions come from your emotional brain, limbic system. You don't control them. That's why someone can say, "I'm not mad," but their jaw is clenched, voice is sharp, and their body is stiff. You must learn to trust the body more than the mouth. If you're just starting, here's what to observe. First, arms. Crossed equals protection. Open equals comfort. Feet, pointing away equals want to escape. Shoulders, tight equals tension or lying. Eye contact. Too much equals forced, too little equals hiding something. Speech speed, fast equals anxiety, slow equals control or thinking. Tone, high equals uncertainty, low and calm equals confidence. Watch how the body and words match or don't match. If someone says, "I love it here," but their body is stiff, they're not smiling, and they're fidgeting, that's not truth. That's performance. Once you understand that people are constantly communicating with their body, the world opens up. You'll see who's insecure in a job interview. You'll sense who's hiding fear on a date. You'll catch lies before they grow into betrayal. You'll feel powerful in silence, because while others talk, you'll be watching. And trust me, those who observe own the room. Words are easy to fake. Behavior is hard to hide. If you want to read people like a book, stop listening so much and start watching. Chapter 2. First impressions are silent, but loud. Let's be honest. Most people don't even know how fast their brain judges someone. It happens in less than 7 seconds, sometimes in less than 1 second. And once that impression is made, it's very hard to change. That's why this chapter is about your first superpower, the ability to see beyond first impressions and control the first impression you give to. Your brain is wired for survival. When you meet someone for the first time, your mind instantly asks, "Is this person safe? Can I trust them? Are they a threat, or can I relax? Do they like me, or are they judging me?" And guess what? They're thinking the same about you. This judgment happens before a word is spoken, and it's based on posture, facial expression, eye movement, clothing, energy, body movement, how they enter the room. If you want to read people like a book, train your eye to observe these fast signals in the first moments. Openness versus defensiveness. Open posture equals arms relaxed, palms visible, shoulders down. Defensive posture equals arms crossed, one shoulder raised, hands hidden. Example. A girl walks into a party with her arms behind her back, chest forward, and head high. She looks around confidently. Her energy says, "I'm open. I'm not afraid." Another person enters with hunched shoulders, arms folded tightly, and fast steps toward the corner of the room. Their body says, "I don't want to be seen." You didn't need to hear a word. You already read them. Facial expression plus eye behavior. Warm eye contact plus small smile equals friendly, safe. Staring with no emotion equals dominance, suspicion. Avoiding eye contact completely equals fear, discomfort. Example. A hiring manager looks you straight in the eye, nods slightly, and smiles gently. He's giving you a signal of welcome. Another interviewer looks at your resume the entire time and avoids looking at you directly. They're unsure, maybe even not impressed. This tells you how they see you before they speak. Physical space and entry movement. Do they walk in with relaxed strides or fast, nervous steps? Do they claim space or shrink into it? Do they pause, look around, or rush to escape? Imagine someone enters a room slowly, shoulders back, and scans the room with a relaxed face. That person is confident. Another enters quickly, walks fast, clutches their phone tightly, and heads for the back of the room. That's anxiety trying to disappear. Once you learn to read first impressions, you'll understand people's inner states without asking. You'll detect insecurity hiding behind fake confidence. You'll see when someone's pretending to be happy but is actually broken inside. You'll stop being manipulated by charm, performance, or forced smiles, because now you don't just look at someone. You read them. First impressions happen fast and reveal a lot. Don't just hear how someone introduces themselves. Watch how they arrive, because their energy speaks louder than their words. Now let's go deeper. What if you could make accurate judgments in just 2 seconds based on tiny, subtle behaviors? That's the next level. And that's what Chapter 3 is about. Chapter 3, Thin Slicing, How to Read People Instantly. This is where the book becomes truly mind-blowing. There's a concept in psychology called thin slicing. It means making fast, accurate decisions based on very small slices of information. In other words, reading someone within seconds of meeting them based on a single gesture, a single tone, a single look, a micro reaction on their face, or even the way they answer one simple question. Your brain has been learning for years, watching, observing, absorbing patterns. You can now make incredibly fast decisions about someone's honesty, confidence, nervousness, threat level, interest or boredom, insecurity or dominance, all without conscious thought, but only if you train yourself to trust what you see and interpret it correctly. Job interview example. You ask the candidate, "Tell me about a time you failed." Candidate A pauses too long, looks to the left, says, "I'm not sure. I've never really failed." Fake smile, voice high-pitched. Candidate B smiles slightly, nods thoughtfully, says, "Yeah, in my first job, I missed a deadline because I was afraid to ask for help." Who's more trustworthy? Even though it was one question, the first person revealed defensiveness, insecurity, possibly dishonesty, all within 10 seconds. Relationship example. You ask someone on a date, "Do you want to meet again?" They say, "Sure," but their face tightens, they look away, and their voice drops. Your logic hears "sure," but your instincts say, "They're done with me." That's thin slicing, and it's almost always correct. If you're emotional, angry, desperate, or afraid, your judgment is clouded. But when you're calm and observant, when you're silent and present, you will start seeing people with scary accuracy. You'll notice a fake smile just by how the eyes don't crinkle, a lie just by how they hesitate before answering, a manipulator just by how they dominate a conversation while avoiding vulnerability. It feels like a superpower, but it's not magic. It's practice. Thin slicing is used by FBI agents, psychologists, high-stakes negotiators, master salespeople, detectives, and now you. Because once you start noticing the small details, the truth is impossible to hide. You won't fall for fake people anymore. You'll avoid bad deals, bad friendships, bad relationships. You'll protect your energy, your goals, and your heart because you don't need to wait for someone to show their true colors later. You'll see them in the first minute. Pay attention to the small signs, a look, a pause, a twitch, a fake smile. The truth is not always spoken, but it's always shown. If you want to read people like a book, train yourself to observe faster. Chapter 4. The body tells the real story. Here's a truth you must remember forever. The body leaks the truth always, even when the mouth tries to hide it. You can wear a fake smile. You can say, "I'm confident." You can lie, charm, flatter, or deny. But your body? Your body will betray you. Why? Because the body's controlled by your subconscious, and the subconscious doesn't lie. This chapter is about training your brain to read that body just like reading a sentence in a book. The 4 major body zones to watch. If you want to truly decode someone, observe their arms and hands, shoulders and chest, legs and feet, overall posture and movement. Each of these zones gives off emotional signals. Let's break them down with powerful real-life examples. Arms and hands. Openness versus defensiveness. The arms are like emotional shields. When someone feels safe, their arms will open up. When they feel threatened or uncomfortable, their arms will close in. Open signals, arms relaxed at the sides, palms facing up, hands open or gesturing naturally, arms on the table, not crossed. Defensive signals, arms crossed across the chest, hands clenched, fidgeting or hiding hands under the table, touching the neck, watch, or sleeves repeatedly. You're talking to a client during a negotiation. At first, his arms are relaxed, but when you mention your price, he folds his arms tightly and leans back. What does this tell you? Words might say, "That sounds reasonable," but the body is screaming, "I feel threatened, I'm pulling back." You just got free insight into how they really feel without asking. Shoulders and chest, confidence or stress. The shoulders reveal tension, pressure, and emotional discomfort, and the chest tells you whether someone is proud or scared. Confident body language. Shoulders down and relaxed, chest slightly lifted, balanced stance, head aligned with spine. Stressed or submissive body language. Shoulders raised and tight, chest caved in, head tilted downward or tucked in. You're interviewing two job candidates. Candidate A walks in, sits straight, shoulders back, hands on the table, relaxed smile. Candidate B walks in hunched, arms folded, shoulders high, and head slightly down. Even before they speak, your brain whispers, "Greater than candidate A owns the room. Candidate B is afraid of it." Legs and feet, where they want to go. This is one of the most ignored parts of body language, but also one of the most honest. Here's why. People can control their words. They try to control their face, but they almost never think about their feet. Foot signals. Feet pointed directly at you equals engaged. One foot pointed toward the door equals wants to leave. Shifting from foot to foot equals discomfort or nervousness. Legs crossed away from you equals emotional distance. Legs crossed toward you equals emotional openness. Imagine you're on a first date. They're smiling, laughing, talking, but one foot is pointed sideways. They shift in their seat often. They keep glancing toward the entrance. What's happening? They're physically present, but mentally, they're planning their exit, and you just read the truth with your eyes. Overall posture, the energy they carry. Posture tells you what someone believes about themselves. Powerful posture. Upright, aligned spine. Shoulders relaxed. Head level, not tilted. Taking space confidently. Weak or submissive posture. Slouching. Neck pulled in, shoulders collapsed, body shrinking into itself. Example, you're at a group meeting. One person is sitting back, arms on chair, looking relaxed. Another is hunched over, biting a pen, scribbling nervously. Who do you listen to more? Even before they talk, the posture speaks. One feels in control, the other feels small. The body is a book, and every movement is a sentence. The arms speak protection or welcome. The shoulders tell you who's relaxed or stressed. The feet tell you who wants to be here and who doesn't. And posture tells you whether someone believes in themselves or wants to disappear. Or discomfort. When someone lies, they often touch their neck, scratch their head, adjust their clothes, rub their hands together, fidget with objects. These are self-soothing actions, their body trying to release the tension the lie is creating. Watch for these the moment you ask a direct question. The truth stands tall. Lies wobble. If you learn to watch tension, timing, tone, and behavioral mismatch, you won't just hear the lie, you'll see it happening. You won't need proof. You'll feel it in your bones because your subconscious mind already knows. And now your conscious mind knows too. Chapter 11. Personality Clues. What behavior tells you about someone's core identity? Now, we go beyond reactions and lies into something deeper. This chapter is about understanding who someone really is, not just what they're feeling today, but what they believe about themselves, their worldview, their core emotional identity. Because the way someone moves, speaks, reacts, and carries themselves, all of it reveals the story they tell themselves internally. Let's learn how to decode it. 1. The confident versus the insecure. Confident people take space, use stillness, maintain steady eye contact, don't rush their words, speak from their chest, not their throat. Insecure people shrink, move constantly, avoid eye contact, talk too much or too little, hesitate before answering. You don't need to ask, are they confident? Just watch them walk into a room. 2. The honest versus the people pleaser. Honest people say no without apology, set boundaries clearly, admit when they don't know something. Look relaxed even when disagreeing. People pleasers laugh too quickly, agree too fast, say yes while their body says no, apologize for existing. The more someone tries to please everyone, the more they abandon themselves, and you'll see it in their behavior. 3. The dominator versus the manipulator. Dominator leads directly, makes decisions out loud, accepts conflict when needed, stays consistent in behavior. Manipulator plays nice, then plays victim, uses passive aggression, avoids direct answers, changes personality based on who's watching. The difference is control. One leads to serve, the other controls to feed ego or weakness. Watch their patterns over time. You'll know. You don't need a personality test, you just need to observe. People reveal themselves in how they react to pressure, how they treat those with no power, how they speak when nobody's watching, how they change or stay the same. Once you can read someone's behavior as a pattern, not just a moment, you'll know their true character. And when you know someone's character, you can protect your life, your time, your energy, and your future. Chapter 12. Emotional Triggers. Reading reactions that reveal deep pain. Sometimes people don't tell you what's bothering them. They say, it's nothing. They say, I'm over it. They say, it doesn't matter anymore. But then they explode or go silent or act cold for the rest of the day. This chapter is about learning to read those emotional triggers, moments when something small causes a big reaction, revealing a wound that hasn't healed. What is an emotional trigger? A trigger is not the pain itself. It's the thing that activates the pain. It could be a certain word, a facial expression, a type of joke, a question, a reminder of someone from the past, a situation where they felt powerless once. Most emotional triggers are rooted in rejection, abandonment, failure, betrayal, being ignored, being judged. When triggered, people don't act like themselves. They act like the younger version of themselves, the one that first felt the wound. How to read a triggered reaction. Watch for sudden mood changes, overreactions to small events, body tightening, clenched fists, locked jaw, eyes getting distant or angry, silence that wasn't there before, a fake smile that suddenly appears. These are all signs that something invisible just got touched, and now the real person is reacting from emotion, not logic. Imagine you say during a conversation, I just think you could have handled that better. Your friend instantly shuts down, stops talking, and avoids eye contact. You didn't insult them, but you accidentally touched their wound, maybe from years of being told they were never good enough. They weren't reacting to you. They were reacting to all the moments in their past where they felt judged. Understanding this can prevent conflict, build empathy, give you massive emotional intelligence. How triggers reveal true emotional history. People's triggers will tell you what they haven't healed from, what they deeply fear, what they secretly desire, where their emotional walls are. For example, a person who gets angry when ignored is probably afraid of abandonment. Someone who hates criticism likely fears not being enough. A person who jokes too much during serious conversations may be afraid of vulnerability. Watch how people react to the smallest things because it's in those moments when their voice shifts, their body freezes, or their mood flips that you'll see the real story they've been carrying. Emotional triggers don't lie. They don't ask for permission. They simply reveal. This chapter teaches you not just how to read people, but how to understand their emotional past. And when you understand someone's past, you stop fighting the person in front of you. You start connecting with the pain behind them. Chapter 13. Group Dynamics. Understanding Social Power, Silence, and Energy. We've learned how to read individuals, but what happens when there are multiple people in a room? This is where things get more complex and more powerful. This chapter is about learning to read group power dynamics, unspoken leadership. Who is dominant? Who is submissive? Who is fake? How people behave when others are watching. How silence and body language change based on who's around. This is the difference between being socially smart and being socially blind. The room within the room. Every group has a hidden structure. You'll almost never hear it spoken, but you can always see it. Who sits at the center of the group? Who talks the most? Who interrupts without fear? Who everyone turns to after someone speaks? Who laughs first and who watches before laughing? Who avoids eye contact and who makes too much of it? These clues reveal who holds power, who craves attention, who is being ignored, who is afraid to speak, who dominates through presence, not volume. In a team meeting, one person barely speaks, but whenever they nod or comment, everyone listens. Another person talks constantly, but nobody reacts. One has power. The other is just noise. Group dynamics are never about volume. They're about respect, presence, and positioning. In groups, the most powerful people are often the most quiet. They don't need to prove themselves. They don't speak unless it matters. Their body language says, "I'm in control. I don't chase approval." Meanwhile, those who feel invisible often fidget, interrupt, talk too fast, make jokes when silence appears, look for validation through the group. You don't need to judge this. Just observe it. Power is not always loud, but it's always noticed. In a group, people try to fit in, hide weakness, perform for status, imitate the dominant person, pretend to be confident when they're afraid. Watch how someone behaves when they're with friends, with authority, with strangers, with people they're trying to impress. People change masks, and when you know what to look for, you'll see the mask before they even wear it. Every room tells a story without words. The group dynamic shows you who they admire, who they follow, who they pretend to like, who they quietly fear, and who they want to become. Don't just listen to what people say in groups. Watch what the group allows, because in silence, laughter, eye contact, and posture, the real power structure is always visible. Chapter 14. Training the Observer's Mind. How to see everything without saying anything. Now, we reach the chapter that changes your life, because up until now, you've been learning techniques, skills, and cues. But this chapter teaches you a mindset, a way of seeing, a new identity. It's the observer's mind, the ability to walk into any room, any situation, any conversation, and see what others miss. Observation is a superpower. People who observe deeply speak less, understand more, avoid drama without saying a word, detect danger before it shows, build better relationships, create stronger businesses, protect their energy and peace. Most people don't listen. They wait to speak, they react, they defend, they talk to win. But the observer? The observer sits quietly, listens fully, watches without judgment, learns everything. How to train the observer's mind. 1. Slow down your reactions. Don't rush to respond. Let silence reveal. The longer you pause, the more they reveal themselves. 2. Notice patterns, not just moments. Don't judge someone for one action. Watch for repeated behaviors. Patterns equals truth. 3. Use curiosity, not judgment. Ask, what is this person really trying to say? What are they hiding? What emotion is behind that smile? 4. Listen to your body. Your gut knows before your brain does. If you feel uncomfortable, unsafe, or unsure, trust the signal and investigate. 5. Detach from your need to be liked. If you're desperate to be accepted, you won't see the truth. You'll only see what you hope to see. But if you're calm, clear, and grounded, people will show you exactly who they are. Example, you meet someone new. They're charming, funny, confident, loud. Everyone seems to love them. But something in you feels off, so you stay quiet. You watch. Over time, you notice they interrupt others often. They only talk about themselves. They never apologize. They change personalities depending on who's nearby. That charm was performance. But because you observed without jumping in, you saw the actor behind the act. This is your power now. Don't chase attention. Chase truth. Train your eyes, train your ears, train your gut. And soon, you won't just read people like a book. You'll read the whole room, the whole energy, the whole truth without saying a single word. Chapter 15. Deep Psychology. What drives people more than logic? You've come a long way. You've learned to read body language, micro-expressions, tone, space, voice, patterns, lies, personalities, and pain. But if you stop there, you'll only see what people do. To go deeper, you must understand why they do it. And the truth is this: most people are not driven by logic. They are driven by emotion, insecurity, fear, guilt, pride, pain, and unconscious beliefs they don't even know they carry. This is the final and ultimate lesson in learning how to read people. You must learn to read what controls them, and what controls them is usually childhood wounds, emotional programming, learned fears, invisible trauma, repeated emotional patterns, and a desperate need to be accepted, seen, and loved. Let's break it down. 1. People want to feel significant. This is one of the strongest emotional needs in the world. Whether someone is loud, quiet, controlling, shy, funny, fake, powerful, behind almost every behavior is a deep craving to feel important, even for a moment. You'll see it in the person who constantly interrupts. They're terrified of being forgotten. The one who brags nonstop, they feel like they've never been enough. The one who says, "I don't care what people think." Often, they care the most. The one who agrees with everything, they're scared of being rejected. The one who flirts with everyone, they just want to feel worthy of love. Underneath the mask is always the same pain. Am I enough? And every behavior is an attempt to answer that question. 2. People are ruled by fear, even when they pretend to be brave. We all want to believe we're strong, logical, and in control. But underneath, most people are scared. Scared of failure, scared of embarrassment, scared of being judged, scared of being alone, scared of losing control, scared of not being good enough. So instead of saying, I'm scared, people behave in strange ways. They avoid responsibility. They attack others first. They pretend to be confident. They stay busy so they never feel. They criticize, gossip, or compete to hide their own insecurity. When you understand this, you stop taking people's behavior personally. You start seeing the pain that's running the show. A boss keeps shouting at his team, always blaming, never appreciating. To others, he seems arrogant. But to you, with this final lens, you see it clearly. He's not strong. He's not confident. He's just a scared man pretending to be powerful because deep down, he feels invisible. That understanding doesn't make him right, but it makes you powerful because now you're not reacting, you're reading. 3. Every behavior is a strategy for an emotion. If someone always criticizes others, it's a strategy to feel superior. Avoids confrontation, it's a strategy to stay safe. Lies often, it's a strategy to protect their image. Jokes nonstop, it's a strategy to distract from vulnerability. Controls everything, it's a strategy to feel secure. Shuts down, it's a strategy to avoid emotional pain. No one wakes up thinking, I'll lie, manipulate, hide, or fake today. But their emotional brain says, do whatever it takes to survive, to avoid pain, to feel love, to stay in control. Your job is not to fix people. Your job is not to judge them. Your job is to observe and see the truth behind the mask. So you don't take their behavior as fact. You take it as data. People are not logical creatures. They are emotional beings using behavior to protect themselves from pain. To truly read people like a book, you must stop focusing only on what they do and start understanding what drives them, what scares them, what made them, and what they're still running from. If you do this, you'll stop reacting. You'll stop doubting yourself. You'll stop chasing fake love and shallow praise, and you'll finally stand in quiet power, seeing the full truth without needing to control anyone because you've already mastered the only thing that matters, your own awareness. You've just completed one of the most important, most powerful, and most life-changing summaries ever created. This wasn't just a book. This was a blueprint to emotional intelligence, powerful communication, quiet confidence, and unshakable awareness. You've learned how to read eyes, voices, body language, space, personality, emotions, pain, lies, group energy, deep human psychology. And in doing so, you've not only learned how to read others, you've started learning how to understand yourself because the truth is, when you start observing people, you begin to observe your own triggers. When you stop reacting to others, you stop reacting to yourself. And when you stop being blind to the truth, you stop being fooled by the world. This skill is not about controlling people. It's not about winning conversations. It's about living in truth, trusting your instinct, seeing what others miss, and protecting your peace, your energy, and your future. Now, before we end, here's a message for you, the listener, the student, the observer, the warrior. You are not weak for being sensitive. You are not stupid for trusting the wrong people. You are not broken because you couldn't read the signs before. You're just becoming aware now, and that changes everything. You don't need to talk louder. You don't need to explain more. You don't need to prove anything. From now on, your silence will speak. Your energy will lead. Your eyes will see, and your mind will understand. You have learned to read people like a book, but the most powerful chapter will always be the one you write for yourself. If you found this video powerful, if it opened your eyes, if it made you see people differently, don't keep it to yourself. Subscribe right now for more life-changing videos like this. Comment below and tell me, which part hit you the hardest? Was it the moment you realized body language never lies? Or the truth that most people live blind to human behavior? Your comment might inspire someone else who needs this lesson today. And please, share this video with a friend, a family member, or someone you care about. Because the world is full of noise, but wisdom spreads when we share it. Your support helps this message reach more people, and it also helps you stay on the path of self-awareness, emotional intelligence, and quiet confidence. Remember, your journey doesn't end here. This is just the beginning. Thank you for being here with me today. This was Read People Like a Book, a full, life-changing summary. I'll see you in the next video. Stay powerful, stay aware, and never stop observing. Because the world is speaking. Now you know how to listen.